I cannot breathe. I literally cannot process what we are witnessing right now because my jaw is permanently glued to the floor. Are you guys seeing what I am seeing with Brooklyn? For weeks, no, months, we have been watching her get dragged through the mud, second guessing every single thing happening in her life. She has been questioning her own sanity, wondering why the universe keeps throwing these massive, heartbreaking curveballs directly at her face. But the blinders are finally off. The sheer brilliance of her finally waking up to the truth is giving me absolute life. She is putting the pieces together, and I am screaming at my screen in pure validation. Brooklyn is finally realizing that all these little coincidences happening around her are way too perfect, way too convenient to be random. The absolute bombshell that someone intentionally staged that entire nauseating situation with Chase and Willow at the boathouse, mind blown. I knew it. I knew there was no way the universe was just naturally that cruel to her. It was a setup, a total, calculated, dirty setup designed to break her spirit. Let us just break down this boathouse nightmare for a second, because I desperately need to vent about the sheer audacity of this scene. We all saw Chase and Willow magically ending up in the exact same place at the exact same time, looking like they were caught in some deeply compromising, emotionally charged moment. The lighting, the timing, the way they were standing it was all designed to destroy Brooklyn, to make her feel like she was losing her mind and her relationship all at once. But Brooklyn is not stupid. She is a fierce survivor. She is finally looking past the hurt and seeing the strings attached to the puppets. The realization hitting her that this was not fate, but a deliberate, malicious trap. It was cinematic perfection. You could literally see the gears turning in her head as she replayed the events. She is looking at the timing, the placement, the absolute convenience of it all, and she knows deep in her gut that someone orchestrated this entire agonizing spectacle just to mess with her head and destroy her peace. And who is the puppet master behind this sick, twisted game? Michael. Yes, Michael. I am so incredibly furious. I could throw my television out the window. How long are we going to sit here and let Michael play the golden boy, the moral compass of this town, while he is secretly pulling the most toxic, manipulative strings in the background? Brooklyn has always looked at Michael as an ally, someone in her corner. Family! She trusted him implicitly, but not anymore. The betrayal I felt watching her realize that Michael is the one manipulating everyone for his own selfish, twisted agenda is unparalleled. He is literally playing God with people's lives. He arranged the boathouse trap. He wanted Chase and Willow together in that space to serve whatever dark, controlling endgame he is working on, completely disregarding who gets destroyed in the process. Michael is officially off my good list forever. He is toxic, he is arrogant, and Brooklyn finally sees him for the calculating manipulator he truly is. But wait, because while my blood is boiling over Michael's absolute audacity, I am simultaneously sobbing over what is happening with Ethan. Can we please talk about Ethan for a minute? The entire town has been painting him as this cold, irresponsible deadbeat who only cares about himself. We have all heard the harsh rumors. We all thought he was just hovering around, dodging responsibility when it comes to Phoebe, acting like he could not care less about her future. But Brooklyn is seeing something completely different, and honestly, so am I. Ethan is constantly, quietly, always there. Every single time Phoebe needs something, every time there is even a hint of danger or instability in her orbit, Ethan just magically happens to be right there in the shadows, keeping a watchful eye on her. He is not avoiding her. He is guarding her. He is terrified, yes, but he is stepping up in the most silent, heartbreaking way possible. Brooklyn is noticing this, and it is changing absolutely everything. She is watching Ethan, watching Phoebe, and she is seeing right through his tough, indifferent, cynical exterior. She realizes that he is not a man running from his child. He is a man drowning in a very real, very heavy loneliness. He is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, trying to protect Phoebe from his own chaotic life, making sure she is safe without dragging her into his darkness. Brooklyn is seeing the decent, deeply caring father buried underneath all that defensive armor. And let me tell you, the chemistry in these quiet moments of realization, off the charts. I am utterly obsessed. She is looking at him not with pity, but with profound respect. She is the very first person in this entire judgmental town to actually see the real Ethan, and it is beautiful. What makes this entire dynamic so incredibly compelling is that Brooklyn is not gravitating toward Ethan because she is broken or because she feels abandoned by Chase. No, this is not some cheap, desperate rebound to make herself feel better. She is drawn to Ethan because she recognizes his hidden kindness. She sees a man who is willing to be the villain in everyone else's story as long as his daughter is safe. That level of silent sacrifice resonates with Brooklyn so deeply. She knows exactly what it is like to be misunderstood, to have everyone assume the worst about you while you are secretly trying to hold everything together. They are two misunderstood souls orbiting each other, and the slow burn of this connection is literally the best thing the writers have given us in years. I am entirely captivated by the way she looks at him now. And just when I thought I could not handle any more drama, Tracy enters the chat. All hail Tracy. I have to admit, I am usually terrified when Tracy gets involved in Brooklyn's life because she is always trying to control her, manipulate her choices, and run the show with an absolute iron fist. But this time is completely different, and I am absolutely here for it. Tracy is no fool. She smells the danger radiating off Michael from a mile away. She sees the sick little games he is playing, and she realizes that his toxic plotting is putting Phoebe and Brooklyn right in the crosshairs of a massive disaster. The fierce matriarch has awakened, and she is choosing violence. Well, strategic, calculated violence. Instead of forcing Brooklyn to do what she wants, Tracy is actually choosing to protect her granddaughter by stepping back and changing her entire tactical approach. And who does she align herself with? Ethan! I am screaming at the top of my lungs. Tracy and Ethan forming an alliance is the absolute wildest, most unexpected, and most brilliant twist I have ever seen on this show. Tracy realizes that Ethan, despite all his flaws and his incredibly complicated past, is the only one who genuinely wants to protect Phoebe without any hidden, manipulative agenda. They are teaming up to build an impenetrable fortress around Brooklyn and Phoebe to keep Michael's grubby, controlling hands away from them. The power dynamic of Tracy and Ethan working together is giving me absolute chills. Michael does not stand a chance against these two powerhouses. And then comes the absolute climax of this whole agonizing storyline. The truth about Michael's trap finally blows up, and it is spectacular. The sheer chaos of the boathouse setup being exposed to the light of day is everything I have been waiting for. Chase finally wakes up from his naive, trusting little bubble and realizes he was nothing but a pawn. A literal chess piece moved around the board by Michael to serve his own sick endgame. The look of absolute devastation and humiliation on Chase's face. I almost felt bad for him, but honestly, he desperately needed this wake-up call. He has been so blind, so blindly loyal, and now he has to live with the heavy fact that he was played like a total fool by someone he thought was a genuine friend. And Willow, oh, sweet, gullible Willow. The absolute horror dawning on her face as she realizes she has been dragged into this filthy, underhanded scheme is incredible television. She thought she was just living her life, but no, she was totally used. She realizes she has zero control over her own narrative when Michael is pulling the strings. All those warnings she got, all the wrath she faced, it all makes terrifying sense now. She is trapped in a web of manipulation, and the realization that she is complicit in hurting Brooklyn, even unintentionally, is completely shattering her reality. The fallout is massive, and I am sitting here eating my popcorn, loving every single second of this absolute mess. But the most triumphant moment, the absolute pinnacle of this entire dramatic masterpiece, Brooklyn walking away. Yes. She looks at the wreckage of Michael's lies. She looks at Chase's pathetic realization, and she just cuts the cord. She is done. She is completely, unapologetically done with the toxic past. She is not crying. She is not begging for explanations. She is just walking out of the darkness and leaving them all to choke on their own drama. It is the most empowering, incredible character growth I have ever witnessed. Brooklyn is choosing herself, and she is choosing peace over this endless cycle of manipulation and pain. And waiting for her on the other side of that wreckage, Ethan. Out of the ashes of this horrible betrayal, this completely unexpected, deep, raw connection is blossoming between Brooklyn and Ethan. It started as an alliance to protect Phoebe, a mutual agreement to survive the chaos, but it is quickly turning into something so much deeper. They are looking at each other and realizing they are exactly the same. They have both spent their entire lives suffocating in the dark shadows of their family's massive, destructive secrets. They know the heavy burden of carrying a legacy of lies and expectations. They understand each other in a way that Chase or Michael never ever could. Chase only ever saw the polished, perfect version of Brooklyn, but Ethan sees the scars. Ethan sees the fierce survival instincts, and Brooklyn sees the terrified, loving father underneath Ethan's cynical mask. They are finding absolute solace in each other's presence. It is dark, it is gritty, and it is so unbelievably romantic. I cannot stand it. They are building a new foundation on brutal honesty and shared trauma, and I am entirely invested in this journey. I need them to be the ultimate power couple of Port Charles. But you guys know, this is not the end. This is never the end. Michael is not just going to sit back and let his grand master plan crumble to dust without a fight. His ego is way too massive for that. He is going to retaliate, and he is going to come for them harder than ever before. Will Tracy and Ethan's brilliant alliance be enough to hold him off? Will Brooklyn and Ethan's fragile new bond survive the absolute hurricane that is about to hit them? I am terrified, I am thrilled, and I need answers right now. Am I the only one losing my mind over this? Please tell. You guys are seeing the same intense chemistry and the same terrifying red flags from Michael. Drop your theories because I am spiraling and I need to know what happens next.